No, you want to arrest? Get off! Get off! I'll fuck you! Get off!
The story begins with a quiet evening that suddenly erupted into one of the most talked-about controversies in Britain. A young schoolgirl, no older than 16, had simply gone to buy a cheeseburger, a Big Mac, after school. It was after 5 p.m., a completely ordinary decision for any teenager hungry after a long day. But what happened next sent shockwaves through her community, and soon, through the entire nation. The girl was reportedly confronted by authorities, accused of violating a new set of restrictions, and in a moment that seemed both absurd and chilling, she was taken into custody. The sheer disbelief of the incident spread instantly across social media. How could something so trivial, a child buying a meal at a fast food restaurant, lead to arrest?
Pretend it never happened. That'd be tough. That'd be tough. If I could, no, I don't think I could do that. Even if I was absolutely fucking shit scared, I couldn't pretend it never happened.
For many, it became a symbol of everything that feels wrong with modern governance. Rules that seem detached from common sense, enforcement that feels heavy-handed, and a system where ordinary people are punished for simply trying to live their lives. And then into this growing storm of outrage stepped one of Britain's most outspoken voices, Ricky Gervais. Known around the world for his biting comedy, his unfiltered honesty, and his ability to say the things others only think, Gervais didn't hold back. Within hours, his name was trending. His words were raw, emotional, and laced with the kind of anger that millions of ordinary people felt but couldn't articulate. He erupted, directing his fury straight at the man he saw as responsible.
I knew about it.
I don't know where you are in the world, but we've had a terrible year. I don't want to be that bloke that complains, but it's been...
Sir Keir Starmer. To understand why Gervais's outburst struck such a nerve, you have to grasp the wider context. Britain has been simmering with tension. Families are struggling with the cost of living. Young people feel increasingly disillusioned, their voices drowned out in a sea of political jargon. And for many, this bizarre arrest became the breaking point, the perfect symbol of a government out of touch with reality. In his response, Ricky didn't hide behind humor. He didn't soften his words with a joke or turn the situation into entertainment. Instead, his voice carried a sharp edge of moral outrage. He asked how a supposedly free country could justify intimidating a child for buying food. He questioned what kind of priorities a government must have to allow something so ridiculous to happen.
We will establish a national capability across police forces to tackle violent disorder.
And he accused Starmer of presiding over a climate where ordinary people no longer feel safe from arbitrary punishment. People listened because Ricky Gervais isn't a politician. He doesn't care about approval ratings, polling strategies, or parliamentary alliances. He cares about speaking truth to power. And when he looked straight into the camera and demanded accountability, millions of people felt like finally someone was saying what they wanted to scream. For Starmer, this eruption couldn't have come at a worse time. Already under fire for failing to connect with voters, already facing protests in the streets and criticism from across the political spectrum, he now found himself the target of a celebrity with a global platform. And unlike a political rival, Gervais had nothing to lose by speaking his mind. His words spread like wildfire, amplified across TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and late-night comedy shows. Clips of his fury racked up millions of views, each one a blow to Starmer, carefully crafted image of calm leadership. But beyond the headlines and the drama, this incident raises deeper questions. What does it say about the state of the country when a child can be punished so harshly for such an innocent act? What does it reveal about a government when comedians, rather than lawmakers, become the loudest voices of moral clarity? And why does it take public outrage from someone like Ricky Gervais for these questions to be taken seriously? The arrest of the schoolgirl has quickly become more than a story about one incident. It is now a metaphor. To some, it represents overreach, the creeping hand of authority meddling in everyday life. To others, it is a sign of misplaced priorities, where energy is spent cracking down on minor infractions while larger, more pressing problems remain unsolved. And for millions of parents, it is personal, the idea that their own child, on an ordinary day, could face humiliation and fear simply for buying food. Gervais's fury tapped into that parental instinct, that human instinct to protect children from injustice. He asked in one of his most shared comments, "What are we becoming if we're criminalizing kids for eating a burger? Where does this end? Do we arrest someone next for buying chips on a Sunday?" His words carried more than humor. They carried a warning that absurd rules don't just inconvenience people, they erode freedom itself.